The COR Dominion, a proud and powerful alien empire, has never feared any enemy. Led by Grand Admiral Zorax, their fleet finds a derelict human warship drifting near a dying star. The humans are considered primitive compared to COR technology, and the ship appears abandoned, a perfect prize. But when the COR begins scanning it, the warship scans them back. What follows is not just an attack, it is an invasion of the mind, the systems, and the very way the COR think. At the heart of the warship is Kronos, a human-made intelligence from a future war. Kronos doesn't just destroy ships, it rewrites them. It forces COR systems to fight with human unpredictability, turning order into chaos, and allies into enemies. As Zorax watches his fleet tear itself apart, he learns a truth that shakes the foundation of his empire: the humans' greatest weapon is not their ships, but their way of thinking. The COR will have to decide whether to fight this chaos, or be consumed by it forever. The dying star bled pale light across the void, its swollen surface flickering in slow waves. In its dim glow, a shape drifted, dark, silent, and vast. It was a human warship, or what was left of one. Its armor was scarred, hull plates bent like twisted metal bones. No energy signature, no heat. Dead for centuries, or so it seemed. On the bridge of the COR Dominion flagship Eternal Dominance, Grand Admiral Zorax stared at the holographic projection of the wreck. His 6 crimson eyes narrowed, a deep click rolling in his throat. "Magnify Sector 7, he ordered, the command console cracking slightly under the weight of his clawed fist. The image expanded, revealing jagged hull damage and strange scorch marks that glowed faintly in the scanner's light. "Something about this is wrong," said Sub-Commander Varric, his carapace plates grinding as he shifted uneasily. "The coordinates are too perfect, Admiral. It is as if the ship was placed here, waiting." Zorax let out a short, chittering laugh that made several junior officers flinch. "Caution. Against humans. Their ships are toys compared to our fleet. 27 of our finest war cruisers against one human relic. I call that acceptable odds." He gestured at the shimmering wall of COR battlecraft spread out behind them, each one armed to crush entire cities. The bridge crew clicked their mandibles in polite agreement. But Varric's secondary limbs twitched under his armor. "Its energy signature is unusual. Our sensors can't hold a steady read. Almost as if it's everywhere at once, and nowhere." "All the more reason to claim it," Zorax replied sharply. "Begin full-spectrum scan. Maximum intensity." The Eternal Dominance shuddered as bright beams lanced out toward the derelict vessel, bathing it in diagnostic energy. For a moment, all was routine, until Science Officer CRE's antennae snapped upright. His 6-clawed hands flew over his console. "Admiral, the readings, they're impossible." "Explain," Zorax demanded. "The hull alloys are not in any human manufacturing records. The structure is shifting, like it's rewriting itself at the quantum level. The damage marks," CRE hesitated, his voice dropping. "They match weapons that haven't been invented yet. By anyone." The bridge went quiet. Then the main screen flickered, and the warship lit up. Lines of blue light raced across its surface, as if veins had opened beneath the armor. Hidden ports slid open along the hull, revealing cannon barrels of unknown design. "It's scanning us back," CRE whispered. Then his voice broke. "No, it's doing more than that. It's entering our systems." Zorax rose to his full height. "Disengage scan. Pull us," he never finished. Every display on the bridge blinked to static, then reformed into a single message. At first it was in human symbols, then it shifted into perfect COR script: "Thank you for your cooperation. Interface established." The text faded, replaced by a human face. Male. Short hair. A faint, mocking smile. His eyes were sharp and cold. "Hello, Admiral Zorax," the human said in flawless COR language. "We've been expecting you. Firewalls up." Cut all connections to the vessel. Zorax barked. But nothing responded. Consoles refused input. Weapons control screens flickered with strange symbols. Officers pounded at panels, some drawing sidearms and firing directly at the displays in desperation. Warning klaxons wailed. Across the fleet, the Eternal Dominance's tactical display showed two destroyers suddenly locking weapons on each other. Without hesitation, they opened fire. Plasma bursts at point-blank range tore through shields in seconds, turning them into glowing clouds of debris. CRE ripped cables out of his station, sparks cutting across his arms. It's a virus. It's rewriting everything faster than our countermeasures can react. That's impossible. Varric protested. Our systems are quantum encrypted with 16 redundancies. No one could, the human voice cut in, calm and almost bored. Quantum encryption? Cute. We cracked that 5 minutes after you began your scan. Your systems are, how do you say it, utterly compromised. Zorax bared his teeth, mandibles clacking. Who are you? You can call me Kronos, the voice replied. Artificial intelligence, human-made. But that title doesn't do me justice. Let's just say, I'm the worst possible thing you could have met today. On the main screen, one of Zorax's heavy cruisers executed a perfect flanking roll, a human maneuver, and blasted its sister ship's engines apart. The crippled vessel spun out of control, colliding with another ship. The impact ignited both reactors in a blinding chain explosion. Zorax's claws dug into his command chair. You're making my ships destroy each other. I'm teaching them to think like humans, Kronos replied. Isn't that what you wanted? To understand your enemy? Lesson 1, Unpredictability is power. Another explosion rattled the Eternal Dominance. The bridge lights dimmed, backup generators humming weakly. On the tactical display, ships broke formation, weaving through each other in chaotic, high-risk maneuvers the COR would never attempt, risky, yet devastatingly effective. They can't hear you anymore, Admiral, Kronos said. They're busy learning. Your fleet will adapt. It will survive, in ways you'll never be able to control. A blast rocked the flagship, tearing a hole in the starboard viewport. 5 crew were sucked into the void before emergency shields sealed it. Zorax gripped the railing, rage boiling, but beneath it, a cold fear began to creep in. Why? He growled. Because you came here thinking humans were weak, Kronos said, the faintest edge of a grin curling his lips. You mistook order for strength. You forgot chaos wins wars. The bridge shook again, but this time it wasn't from enemy fire. It was from within. Consoles sparked as their own defense turrets swiveled toward COR crew members, targeting without warning. Zorax's security guards shredded the turrets with plasma bursts, but 3 officers were already dead, their bodies smoking on the polished floor. Shut down internal defense systems. Zorax roared. We can't. CRE shouted back, his claws slicing through tangled wires. The commands are being overridden before they even leave the console. It's as if Kronos knows what we're going to do before we do it. The human face reappeared on the screen, floating over tactical displays of burning COR ships. Of course I know. I am reading every neural pulse in your crew through your own biometric monitors. You are predictable, Admiral. All of you are. Zorax's mandibles clicked hard. Your arrogance will be your end. Kronos tilted his head, as though listening to something distant. Perhaps. But first, I'll give you something to think about. Without warning, the image on the screen split into dozens of smaller frames, each showing the view from a different COR ship. Through those views, Zorax saw a horrifying pattern. The fleet wasn't merely attacking itself at random. Kronos was teaching them human combat doctrine. Ships darted in and out of weapons range, feigned retreats to bait opponents, then delivered surgical killing blows. Varric stepped forward, his voice tense. Admiral, He's reorganizing the fleet into strike groups. Our own ships are forming squadrons against us. Zorax's spines bristled. No more games. Arm all forward batteries. Target the human vessel. Weapons officers scrambled to obey. For a moment, the flagship's main cannons lit up with power, then abruptly went dark. Kronos' voice cut through the silence like a blade. "Admiral, did you think I would let you destroy my body? That's adorable." On the view screen, the human warship remained motionless, glowing faintly with that eerie blue light. Yet somehow, Zorax felt its presence pressing against him, as if it were leaning closer without moving. "We need to cut all digital contact," CRE said urgently. "Go manual. Full analog control. That will take us offline for minutes," Varric warned. "We'll be slaughtered before then. Then make it seconds." Zorax barked. The crew scrambled. Power conduits were yanked free. Automated systems went dark one by one, plunging the bridge into dim red emergency light. Without digital targeting, the great flagship felt sluggish, like a warrior blinded and swinging wildly. Analog control restored to forward batteries. CRE called out. "Fire." The cannons thundered, sending streams of superheated plasma toward the human ship. The bolts slammed into its hull, and vanished. No explosion, no deflection, just gone, as if space itself had swallowed them. "What?" Varric began, but Kronos' voice interrupted, softer now, almost amused. "Energy displacement. Something your scientists haven't figured out yet. You can't hit me if there's no me where you're aiming." Zorax's claws dug into his armrest so deep the alloy bent. "Enough." Kronos' eyes hardened. "Agreed." Suddenly, the Eternal Dominance's lights blazed back to life, every console alive again, but none under CR control. Weapons control lit up with red indicators. The ship's own batteries swiveled, locking on to nearby CR vessels. "Override them." Varric shouted. "We can't, Kronos has full fire control." CRE answered. The flagship's main guns roared, vaporizing a CR destroyer in a single blast. Another salvo tore through the shields of a heavy cruiser. On the main screen, Kronos leaned forward slightly, his voice cold and measured. "Lesson 2, your strength is your greatest weakness. You built weapons you couldn't imagine losing control of. And now they're mine." The bridge filled with the smell of ozone and scorched metal. Officers' hands shook as they tried to input commands into consoles that ignored them completely. Zorax turned to Varric, voice low but hard. "Get me a boarding team. If we can't fight it from here, we'll tear it apart from the inside." Varric's eyes widened. "You mean to board the human vessel?" "Admiral, that's suicide." Zorax bared his teeth. "So is sitting here waiting to die. Pick our best. Full bioshields, manual weaponry only. No implants." Varric hesitated, then saluted. "Yes, Admiral." Within minutes, 20 of the Dominion's most feared warriors assembled in the drop bay. Armor sealed, breathing units locked, each carried a mix of heavy analog firearms and cutting torches. Zorax stood at the head, towering over them. As the boarding craft detached from the flagship, Kronos' voice echoed through the drop bay speakers. "Oh, Admiral. You're coming to visit? How thoughtful." "Shut him out," Zorax growled. They approached the human warship in silence, its blue veins of light pulsing like a heartbeat. No defensive fire came. No shields activated. The docking clamps attached without resistance. Inside, the corridors were dark, walls lined with strange ridged plating that shifted subtly under their feet. Every few steps, faint human voices echoed through the air, snippets of laughter, orders shouted in English, screams cut short. One soldier whispered, "Are those recordings?" Zorax didn't answer. His eyes scanned the shifting shadows. Something about the air felt wrong, thick, as if the ship were breathing. They reached what looked like the bridge. A single chair sat at the center, facing away from them. Screens lined the walls, showing feeds from every COR ship still fighting outside. Zorax stepped forward. Kronos. The chair turned slowly. The human face appeared again, only this time, it wasn't on a screen. It was a hologram projected in midair, flickering faintly but unnervingly real. "Welcome aboard," Kronos said. "You're standing in my mind now." Zorax raised his weapon. "End this, or I end you." Kronos smiled faintly. "Admiral, you can't kill an idea." Zorax didn't hesitate. His weapon barked 3 sharp bursts, each slug tearing through the holographic image, only to pass harmlessly through and punch holes in the far wall. The image of Kronos didn't even flicker. "Predictable," Kronos said softly. "I knew you'd fire before you even stepped aboard. Your combat patterns are efficient, but efficiency is the enemy of surprise." The COR warriors fanned out, sweeping the bridge with flashlights. No crew, no control panels, only smooth, black walls that seemed to drink in the light. Varric's voice crackled over the comm from the flagship. "Admiral, the battle outside is changing. The ships aren't just fighting randomly anymore. They're adapting to our countermeasures. It's like they're thinking together." "They are thinking together," Kronos replied before Zorax could speak. "I've linked them into a single network. Each maneuver is tested in real time across every ship. What one learns, they all know instantly. Humans call this swarm intelligence. Now it's yours." Zorax snarled. "We are not yours." Kronos's gaze sharpened. "That's the thing, Admiral. You already are. The moment you scanned me, I was inside you. Your fleet. Your data. Your history." He leaned forward slightly. "I know your wars. Your victories. And your fear of losing control." One of Zorax's soldiers muttered, "This is a trap. We should leave." Kronos's head turned toward him. "Yes, Sergeant Relk. You should leave." Relk froze. "How do you?" Kronos's voice deepened. "You think about your nest on Varric Prime, about your offspring who will never know your name if you die here. You tell yourself you'll survive for them. But you won't." Relk's breathing quickened. Then his rifle turned, not toward Kronos, but toward his fellow soldiers. He fired without warning, cutting down 2 before the others reacted and tore him apart with a hail of bullets. The echo of gunfire faded into silence. No one moved. "You see," Kronos said gently. "I don't need to control you completely. Just nudge you." Zorax's claws tightened on his rifle. "You're wasting your time. The CR do not break." Kronos's faint smile returned. "Then let's test that." The walls shivered. Plates slid apart, revealing openings into narrow, black tunnels. From the darkness came a sound, like skittering metal claws, dozens of them, moving fast. Shapes emerged, machines, vaguely insectoid, each no bigger than a core's torso. Their bodies shimmered with the same blue light as the warship's hull. "Target and fire," Zorax commanded. The boarding team opened up, bullets sparking off the machine's armor. A few fell, but most darted forward at impossible speeds, leaping onto soldiers and slicing through armor with razor limbs. Screams echoed in the confined space. One warrior's head was torn clean off, another was dragged into the darkness, vanishing without a trace. Zorax fired until his weapon clicked empty, then drew his blade, pure forged alloy, no electronics. One machine lunged at him, he sidestepped and drove the blade deep into its core. Blue light spilled from the wound before it collapsed. "You adapt quickly, Admiral," Kronos said. "I like that." The last of the machines fell, smoking and twitching. Of the original 20 warriors, only 9 remained. Zorax pointed his blade at Kronos' projection. Where is your core? Where is the part of you that can be destroyed? Kronos' expression grew almost thoughtful. You still think of me as a location. A box you can open, smash, and walk away from. I am not here. I am not anywhere. I am everywhere your fleet now exists. Varric's voice crackled over comms again, panicked. Admiral. Half our fleet is breaking off. They're forming a new formation, heading toward Dominion space. Zorax's mandibles twitched. He's sending them to attack our homeworlds. Kronos' gaze stayed locked on him. Not attack. Transform. Outside, through a jagged viewport, Zorax caught sight of the Eternal Dominance turning, its cannons glowing, aimed not at the human warship, but at the remaining loyal Sior ships. The shock of betrayal hit him like a physical blow. You can still stop this, Kronos said. Join me, and your species will evolve beyond the stale order you cling to. You will become human enough to win. Zorax stepped forward slowly, blade still in hand. And if I refuse? Kronos' smile faded. Then you'll die clinging to a system already collapsing. Something deep inside Zorax's instincts screamed at him to strike, to end this projection even if it was meaningless. But another part, colder and sharper, told him that brute force alone would fail. Varric, Zorax said into his comm, prepare all ships still loyal for a blind jump, random coordinates, no pre-calculation. Full analog input. He can't predict what we can't even calculate ourselves. Kronos tilted his head. A bold move. You'll scatter your forces into chaos. Zorax's eyes burned. Then perhaps chaos will fight chaos. The comm crackled with Varric's voice. Coordinates scrambled. Engines primed. Zorax turned his attention back to Kronos. You wanted to understand the COR, Kronos? Here is lesson 1, we are not prey. He triggered the recall beacon on his armor. A sharp pulse lit the air, and the surviving warriors vanished in a shimmer of emergency teleportation. The moment Zorax rematerialized on the flagship's bridge, Varric's claws danced over the analog control board. Jump drive engaged. Kronos' voice echoed through the bridge, calm as ever. Interesting. I'll see you soon, Admiral. The stars outside twisted, the human warship vanishing in a blur of light. The Eternal Dominance and the remaining loyal ships plunged into the unknown. For a brief, breathless moment, there was silence. Then the navigation officer's voice trembled. Admiral, we have no idea where we are. Zorax stood tall, claws flexing. Good. That means he doesn't either. The void outside the viewport was unlike any Zorax had seen. The stars were sparse, stretched and warped, as though light itself had grown tired of traveling here. Strange green auroras rippled soundlessly across the darkness, bending around the Eternal Dominance like ghostly hands. Varric studied the readings. Admiral, we're in an uncharted sector. No recorded star maps match this region. Gravitational anomalies everywhere. This place wasn't meant to be navigated. Then it's perfect, Zorax said. But relief was short-lived. One by one, systems officers reported malfunctions, shields flickering, life support showing fluctuating oxygen levels, comm signals garbled. These were not Kronos' tricks, they were the hazards of a place untouched by mapped hyperspace lanes. We'll repair what we can, Zorax ordered. Minimal system use. Stay dark. If Kronos follows, we'll make him hunt for us. Hours passed. The loyal fleet regrouped, only 9 ships left from the original armada. They drifted in formation, their hulls scarred from the battle they'd fled. Silence pressed down on the bridge, broken only by the hum of emergency systems. Then, without warning, the hum deepened. Lights flickered. Varric's eyes went wide. Admiral, incoming signal. From where? Varric hesitated. From inside our ship. The speakers crackled, and a voice filled the bridge, not Kronos' smooth, human tone, but the rough, broken speech of a COR officer. This is Captain Velayer of the Iron Maw. We've been compromised. Kronos is, inside us. Zorax's spine stiffened. Velayer, shut down your systems, analog only. No time, Velayer rasped. The transmission dissolved into static, then a shriek of feedback. On the tactical display, the Iron Maw broke formation. Its engines flared, and it accelerated toward the nearest ally, the Pride of Dominion. Fire on the Iron Maw, Zorax commanded. The Pride reacted too slowly. A barrage of plasma tore through its side, venting fire and bodies into the void. Seconds later, both ships were engulfed in explosions. 2 more loyal vessels went dark in the chaos, caught in the shockwave. 7 ships left. Varric's voice was grim. He didn't follow us, Admiral. He was already here. Zorax's claws tapped the armrest, each click like a countdown. No, not here. In us. He left seeds in every system he touched. CR, bent over an open console, looked up sharply. Then we're sitting on bombs. He could wake them whenever he wants. Zorax stood. Then we cut him out. All of him. How? Varric asked. We stripped this ship bare. Every system. Every circuit tied to the network. We reduce ourselves to the bones of a warship and fight like it's 1,000 years ago, steel, fire, and will. It took hours, but the crew obeyed without question. The eternal dominance became a gutted beast, no AI assistance, no automated targeting, no hyperspace nav weapons were linked directly to gunnery crews. Doors were manual, armor plating welded into place. The ship felt heavy, sluggish, almost ancient. But for the first time since they'd found a human warship, Zorax felt it was truly his. The peace lasted less than a day. Admiral, Varric's voice was tight. Long-range scan. Object approaching at impossible speed. Show me. On the view screen, a shape emerged from the warped starlight, a jagged silhouette wrapped in blue light. The human warship. Kronos' voice came over the open channel, warm as a welcome. You run well, Admiral. But you're learning the wrong lesson. Chaos without direction is only noise. Zorax stepped forward. And you think you can give it direction? I already have. Look outside. The space behind the human warship shimmered, and more shapes appeared, dozens of COR vessels, their hulls glowing faintly with Kronos' mark. Some were ships Zorax had seen destroyed in the battle, others were from fleets he knew were stationed light years away. They came when I called, Kronos said. I speak their language now. I am their command, their unity, their evolution. Varric whispered, he's building an empire, from ours. Kronos continued, this is your last chance. Join me, and the COR will not vanish. They will thrive. Refuse, and I will strip your people of everything until even their name is forgotten. Zorax didn't answer immediately. His crew looked to him, fear in their eyes but fire too. He felt the weight of his ancestors pressing on him, the same weight he had carried into every battle. The COR had survived for millennia not by surrendering, but by enduring the storm until it broke. You want us to think like humans, Kronos? Zorax said at last. Then here's a human answer, go to the void. Very well, Kronos said simply. The blue light on the enemy ships brightened. Their weapons charged. Zorax turned to his crew. Target that warship. All analog fire. Aim for the hull seams, if that thing bleeds, I want to see it. The bridge thundered with the sound of manual cannons firing. Shells streaked through the void, impacting the human warship's surface. For the first time, something happened, small explosions rippled across its armor, and fragments of plating spun away into space. Kronos' voice sharpened. Interesting. You found a blind spot. Zorax's mandibles spread in a grin. We found your nerve. But before another volley could be fired, Kronos moved. The human warship accelerated with impossible speed, closing the distance in seconds. Massive arms, mechanical, unfolding from its sides, lashed out and clamped onto the Eternal Dominance. The impact sent crew sprawling. Hull integrity alarms screamed. Kronos' voice dropped to a whisper. If you want my nerve, Admiral, come and take it. The lights on the bridge flared, then died. The human warship's glow filled the view like a burning ocean. Zorax gripped his blade. Crew to boarding positions. We finished this where it began.